In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Devan bhavayatanena te devaha bhavayantu vaha. The purpose behind we creating and worshipping a divine entity is so that that divine entity reflects that action back on our own self, thereby raising us to a higher level of living ascribed with that deity. This is the idea behind worshipping Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, to make us cleverer, or worshipping Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, to make us wealthier. These deities which we create are not just mere figments of our imagination. We breathe life into them every time we meditate upon and worship them. There are many ways of creating such divine entities and energizing them so that they magnify and reflect that energy back into us. One of the direct forms of doing this is through reciting the sound, mantra, and realizing the form, yantra, of the corresponding energy. In this video, let's look at the science behind these yantras and how one can make use of them. The Sanskrit channel is an effort to explore a vast variety of topics from original Sanskrit literature. If you wish to support this effort, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon or make a one-time contribution through these options. Your support will help us improve the quality, length, and number of topics covered in our videos. Do check out all the links in the description below. There are many kinds of yantras, some in a circular pattern called as mandalas, some in a pyramid shape called as merus, and some with numbers in them called as sankhya yantras. There are many categorizations based on where they are drawn and how they are used, but the basic principles behind the working of all these yantras are exactly the same. There are four basic aspects to understand in any yantra. The first is the symbols used to create it. Second, the surface on which it is created. Third, the ingredients which are used to make it. And finally, the process of energizing and benefiting from it. Let us have a brief look at all these aspects step by step. We will go into a deeper study when we deal with individual yantras. Firstly, yantras are just varying complexities of geometrical arrangements which have a direct physiological impact on the geometrical shapes within the human body. They are made up of simple symbols like dots, circles, lines, and polygons. There is an established science on how to create a divine entity using precise geometric arrangements. This knowledge is spread across hundreds of textbooks of Agama and Tantra Shastras. These books include Yantra Chintamani, Brihat Samhita, Mrigendragama, and Kiranagama. The word Agama literally means the arrival of something. In this context, it means making the divine arrive. The Agama Shastras denote that a bindu or a dot represents the source. It is usually located at the center of the yantra and represents the ruling deity of that yantra. Circle represents infinite space and expansiveness. It represents the Akasha or the space element. A square represents the fixed space and rigidity. It is associated with the Bhumi or the earth element. An upward pointing triangle represents masculine energy and the fire element, which is called as Agni. And the downward pointing triangle represents feminine energy and the water element called as Jala. This representation is also symbolic of fire always trying to rise upward and water always trying to flow downward. A combination of both these triangles forming a six-pointed star represents balance and equilibrium, a perfect state of being. A clockwise figure represents creation and birth, and an anti-clockwise figure represents dissolution and death. Two squares superimposed to form an octagon sometimes represents fire and sometimes represents preservation. Lotus petals are also used to represent aspects of the yantra which are strictly not a part of the geometric form but a consequence of the energy in it. These aspects are seen as the parivara or the family of the energy manifest at the center. Some yantras have numbers inscribed on them. The meanings of these numbers vary based on the context of usage of the yantra. Some Sankhya yantras represent the 9 forms of Shakti called as Nava Durgas, while some represent the 11 forms of Rudra called as Ekadasha Rudras. All of these aspects spread out across the yantra are ascribed with names, humanoid forms, vehicles, and weapons which depict the nature of energy which is manifest there. The second aspect is the surface on which a yantra is drawn. Starting from just plain earth or stone to various metals like copper, silver and gold, and even some alloys, there are many surfaces on which yantras can be drawn. The only criteria is that the surface needs to be flat and conducive to hold the yantra without any disturbance, at least for the period of usage of the yantra. Also, surfaces which conduct energy better like copper, silver and gold are much more vibrant and effective to use than surfaces which are inert like plastic. Coming to the ingredients used to create the shapes of these yantras, again, there are many conducive materials. Agama texts also mention the use of different substances based on the colors that need to be used to draw the yantra. The most common of all is ground rice, which is used for white components of the yantra. Turmeric powder for yellow, crushed red brick for red color, powdered green gram for green, and so on. There is also mention of the usage of flowers and gemstones based on the kind of process the yantra is used for. And of course, if the medium is a metal plate or stone, one can engrave or etch the yantra pattern onto it. The next aspect is the mode of worship. The idea behind worship or puja is to energize the form and internalize it. Various substances which are rich in potential like flowers, milk, honey, curd, turmeric and sacred ash are used to energize a yantra. Based on what kind of a deity is being invoked into the geometrical form, that kind of an energy source is offered to the yantra as well. These entities could again be categorized as sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, and correspondingly such kind of food substances and ingredients are offered. The simplest way of energizing a yantra is of course through thought. Visualizing and internalizing the pattern in our own minds literally means we are pouring our own life energies into creating the yantra. This is the least resource intense process of benefiting from a yantra, if only one's thought process is steady enough to hold and sustain the visualization. One can start this process by focusing on the yantra with eyes open and slowly internalizing the form before closing one's eyes to meditate on the form for longer durations. In summary, Kaularnava Tantra states, Yantram mantramayam proktam devata mantra rupini shariram iva jivasya deepasya snehavat priye sarvesham api devanam tatha yantram pratishtitam. This means a yantra form is a representation of mantra sound. The devata or deity is an embodiment of the mantra. The yantra is to the deity as the body is to the being and as oil is to a lamp. Similarly, all deities have their corresponding yantras ascribed to them. This video was presented to set a context before we start exploring individual yantras and their benefits. Without a proper context, this profound science of creating and worshipping deities for our own well-being might seem fake and fairy tale-ish. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you wish to support the production of more videos like these, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon or make a one-time contribution through these options. Your support will help us improve the quality, length and number of topics covered in our videos. Consider subscribing to the Sanskrit channel where we explore hidden gems in the vast world of diverse Sanskrit literature. See you in the next video. Namaskaram.